Hi Bulldogs! Nice to see you again. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Brenda and I'm an intern for Minimus U working with your guidance team. If you haven't checked out any of my other videos, go ahead and go to your Las Cruces High School website, the front page, and you will scroll down a little bit and I am right there. So last video, what we talked about were looking out for signs of suicide and looking out for signs of depression, being more open about like the behaviors and the moods that you might see or you might experience when it comes to, suicide thoughts. So don't worry, the video that we talked about before is still on the YouTube. Like I said, just go to your Las Cruces High School website, front page, you'll see it. Now that we know and put a name to the emotions and the behaviors that we kind of already seen, now what do? We're gonna go through some scenarios, some real life situations that you have experienced, or someone that's experienced this, or especially with what's going on right now. I know there's a lot of high emotions. I know there's a lot of high feelings of loneliness. But just knowing and understanding it's okay to reach out. Let's go ahead and continue on with this video. Like I said, this video is gonna be more about like now that you've seen how the moods are, now that you understand the behaviors, now what do we do once we confront them? So let's put this as an example. What do I do, or what would you do if you make a new friend, someone new in town, you gain their trust as a friendship, you start to see some warning signs of suicide, and you guys actually decide to have a heart-to-heart talk about these signs. We're going to do what's called acts. So the first thing is acknowledge and talk about these emotions and know that it's going to be uncomfortable. We're trying to understand the feelings and putting them into words, but giving them that sense of comfort and reassuring that everything is going to be okay is the first step. We're also going to genuinely care about what they're saying. We're going to give them our undivided attention. We're going to take them seriously and remind them that this space has no judgment and it's still okay to ask for help. We're still in this together. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to help them find the right resources. So finding that support for them, giving them, yes, that assistance, that reassuring them that you're not alone. We can all find help, and it's okay to find help with someone. It's fine. And even telling them that you can take them to the office, you'll go with them to the first appointment. Those little things, it really does make a difference. And like I've said before, talking about mental health, bringing more awareness into mental health, especially at a young age in high school, middle school levels, it is so important. Mental health does not discriminate. To the videos on the side of this slideshow is both situations in both high school and middle school where they had those feelings of suicide and they felt like they couldn't reach out to someone. So being more aware, being more open that situations happen like this. Things like this do happen. Emotions come up very high for many different people, and we all handle things differently is what I'm going for. And just understanding that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Just because you need help doesn't mean that you're weak. In contrary, I think that it's very strong for someone to ask out for help because, it takes a lot. It does take a lot. Understanding too that everyone is worthy and everyone is deserving of help when needed. We all need help sometimes, and it's okay. I myself know I struggle with asking for help, but I have later understood that, gosh, it feels so nice to be able to have that support from someone. So go ahead and take a look at these videos. They will be on the links below. They will be too long for me to show them to you here and now, but take some time and understand that things like this happen not only here in Las Cruces High School, not only here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, not even in New Mexico in general, but just around the United States, around the world. Mental health is everywhere. Here we have example number 1. All these examples are definitely based on situations that can happen and may have happened, or maybe someone that this has happened to. This specific example, the link will be down below, of course. This is a little mini movie So, a short film about a girl who has been bullied and doesn't really want to share about it. She holds in a lot of emotions and repeats those phrases to herself that she's not worthy, that she's ugly, that she should, go and hurt herself. She eventually believes this. What's going on though is that she's very zoned out. She's feeling alone. She is doing things that she normally doesn't do. So whenever I say notice those moods. So whenever someone responds with fine or they seem zoned out, they're quiet, they're unmotivated, they're down, they just want to be alone. Those are things to look for in these kind of situations. As far as behaviors, you know, going to a bridge isn't something, by themselves, isn't something that, normally is common for someone to do. In other words, going to the bridge sounds very lonely. It sounds, like what motivated this person to go to the bridge in the first place? Whenever they answer you with short answers when talking, or they're staring into the mirror and they're just like starting to believe these phrases that she's been told. So when it comes to acting out, it seems like she's being disregarded feelings because she does get asked, how she's doing. And all she says is fine. Whenever asked again, are you sure? She says, yeah. Of course, they don't want to be a burden. What happened was it was her brother who asked her if she was doing okay. But it just took a little single moment to take a little moment extra. And we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit later as to what could have been done differently to ultimately save the situation. Example number 2, I do not have a video link to this anymore, I apologize. But what the short film was about was this girl who had pretty much everything going for her. She had friends, she had support, she was a cheerleader, she was captain of her cheerleading team. She had a family, she had a roof over her head, she had basically everything, she had a boyfriend. She seemed to be very happy. She seemed to be very together. She had great grades. She wasn't shy. She was very social. But what was sad about it was that she was pretending to be happy, and she did ultimately try to reach out to someone because there was a part in the film where she did reach out to her dad and try to reach out and talk to him, but what happened was he was a little too busy and he put his work, ahead. She went to her mom, and her mom was a little overwhelmed with cooking dinner, getting home from work, getting the home life together. So she said, I'll talk to you a little bit later. She ran to her sister, her older sister, and she was all for talking, but then she got a phone call. So this girl had a lot of barriers coming up to where she was trying to reach out for help. She was trying to talk to somebody, but it just seemed like, she was being disregarded. So her moods were then, she started to feel alone. She started to isolate herself. She started to feel tired of being okay. She said she started feeling tired of living. She started getting, depressed. Her behaviors were easier to hide. She kept on explaining that it was easier to hide the sadness rather than actually be sad. When it comes to the act out, she does reach out to her parents, but they seem too busy, or they get irritated and defensive and say, I'll reach out to you later. She reaches out to her younger sister, her older sister as well. So there are these barriers. So like, what do you do at that point? And here in a second, we're gonna go ahead and see what can be done differently. So, what could have happened differently? In the first example, if the person who asked her if she was okay took a little more time to genuinely ask what was happening, maybe instead of going to the bridge, she could have talked it out. So, like I said, it was a quick, like, hey, how are you doing? You seem a little down. She said, I'm doing fine. He said, are you sure? She said, yeah. They said, all right, cool, I'll talk to you later. It wasn't, if he had taken just a little bit more time to be like, are you really sure? Because you've been acting this way or this way, and you don't seem like yourself. Let's talk about it. Giving and allowing that space for the other person to come in and be okay with talking about what's happening, talking about those emotions, and trying to get that help could have helped the situation a lot, in a more positive way. In the second example, if her parents or sisters could have taken time to listen to her, then things could have helped, and she could have been able to express her feelings. Um, Understanding that yes, your family is a big support, but also acknowledge that there are other resources out there as well to help you get those expressions out. School counseling is a very good way to start. Once you're into the office and you start explaining your feelings, you can start to feel the weight being lifted off. So even if your parents, your sisters, your siblings, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, if they're all too busy within their own lives, also understand that you're not a burden either. Tell them, hey, it's really important. If you don't mind just, getting back to me, or if we can talk right now, that'll be even better. But if that's not the way, there's other ways to get your expressions out. The point is just to talk to somebody and get that first step out, even if it's for your best friend. If you know someone who just seems really hesitant about reaching out to someone, reassure them that it's okay. Asking for help is just fine. Let us take a little deep breath right now, because this is some really heavy stuff. I want to bring attention to that. I want to bring attention to that this is not easy to talk about. That is why it is so taboo, because it's so heavy. This isn't much of a conversation that everyone wants to have because it's so tough. All these emotions that come up when we talk about suicide, but it's okay to feel outside of your comfort zone when talking about these things, because it just brings more awareness, to get more help for you, to get more resources for you, for anyone that is going through this. It just helps bring us all together. I do want to express and really emphasize that hope for all is still there. Okay, there's still light in the darkness for you or anyone that that feels this way. The pain is temporary and things will get easier. Hope, hold on. Pain ends, and it does. The pain does end at one point, and that point is talking to someone, releasing those emotions out, and being there support for someone that you do know, allowing them the environment, to really understand that it's okay. Like I keep on repeating, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I don't know any other words besides that. Everything will alleviate at some point. Tension will go away, tension will relieve itself. um, but it's just holding on to that little bit of hope, that little bit of faith in whatever form that is for you. um, to let or to let yourself know that it's okay to be the help for someone or to ask for help. Like I said before, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for allowing me the space to talk about these things. I know it's not easy. These are times where it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but it's doable. You guys can express how you feel, and it's very important. Um, as always, the links to all the videos are down below. If you ever need anything or someone who is in need, don't hesitate to reach out. Um, Me, the guidance team, I know our other intern Zoe has been reaching out. Don't be afraid to reach out to the guidance team. Reach out to your counselor, reach out to Zoe, to anyone who you feel comfortable with. We are all here for you, and it's okay to get some help. It's all right. We all need help sometimes. So until next time, Bulldogs, stay safe, practice social distancing, and we will see you next time. Bye.